Today I want to talk about the lighting that Frazetta used on his characters. So this is Frazetta style character lighting. This is from a book called Icon. I got this a while ago, and I want to talk about this piece here. This is Conan the Barbarian. So I want to study this and show you and talk about it so you can put some of his methods into your figure drawing or character drawings. So let's take a look at the lighting here. Now, Frazetta being a seasoned illustrator and painter, he can decide what to put light on. Now that's something that you should think about. As an artist, you have to take the liberties of deciding what you want to put light on, regardless of where the light is coming from. So we take a look at this illustration here. We know by the shadows and where the highlights are. The highlights are on top of the bicep and here on top of the rib cage. But the lighting is coming from above. But you notice the hair. There's no lighting here. You notice there's no harsh lighting on the nose, on the bridge of the nose, or even on the brows, or on the upper lip, or even the chin. He chose not to do that. This is the beauty of being an artist, is you can choose and decide where you want to put light, and you decide where you want the focus to be. As soon as I see this illustration, I see this here. He wants to focus on this area of Conan. His veins, his muscles, his scars on his arm, cool little gear, bracers, the veins, and look at his legs. There's no lighting, practically no lighting at all. There's a very little bit here, you can see the knees. Frazetta this chooses what to define and what to leave subdued. Her arm disappears into the sword. So his artwork is realistic because he used realistic figures. Look at the background. He just threw that in there to give it some sort of detail and some attention. These legs in the realistic world would have light. Maybe bounce light or rim lighting. Since his arms and the sword is in front of him, he chooses to put this in shadow. Now if his arms were out, maybe jumping into battle, then he'd probably put some lighting in the legs. But we don't need to see that. We know he has legs and he's standing. But the important part is right here. He chose to bring this to life by adding all the beautiful highlights here and here. And notice he doesn't highlight this the same as this. And he doesn't highlight this side the same as this side. So it tells us that the lighting is coming from this direction, above from the right. Now is it realistic? Maybe not, because if you look over here, so it looks like it's coming from the top. This is the other piece I want to talk about. Conan versus the man-ape. The lighting is coming from the left, except this time he has the bounce light from this red cape, which is very exaggerated. And you can see it here on Conan's body. It's obviously not a red light, because if there was a red light, it would light up the floor and maybe some of the background. So this is a very harsh bounce light that's coming off the cape, that's giving this red aura on Conan. Yeah, it's extreme, but is it realistic? No. You know, did Frazetta take liberties as an artist? Yes, he did. And again, the lighting is coming from the top, shadows on the right, some rim lighting here. And let's take a look at the gorilla, the ape. Nothing much going on right here. Why? Because he wants to focus on the mouth and the face. If he was to go ahead and add more lighting in here, then it would take away from this drama happening right here. The rest of the body of the man-ape, it's in shadow right here. And it's, like I said, it's almost surrealistic. It could be a cloud. It could be mist. You know, nobody in reality would wear such a huge cape. He would trip over it. But that's not the point of this painting. The point is to make an impact. And so yeah, Frazetta exaggerates the clothing and have it whip up over here because, like I mentioned in the past, sort of like Hollywood. When Hollywood makes movies, they exaggerate stuff. It's cool and people like it. And here again, he only shows the foot to show that he is standing, and shows one arm. Look at that, with veins and stuff. Really cool. This adds a lot of character. And the toes, who cares about the toes? It's just sketched in there, left alone. That's not important. The point is he is standing. the morsels, the yummy parts of his paintings are right here. Right here. This area is right here, where you just like, whoa, you want to keep staring at it. And then you trail off to these other areas where it's left in mystery. And you get to use your imagination to figure out, well, what's inside there? You know, where's his other leg? So basically what he does is he invites the viewer by leaving things mysterious. And the background, there's a background back there. It's not very prominent and it's not important to this picture, but it does support it. And here's another gorgeous piece by Frazetta. It's lovely. I think this might have been a 2-day painting that he made. His 1-day paintings look a little more rough. And this one looks a little more tight. At least the characters do. Now let's focus on Conan. He is jumping at this character. But the lighting is coming from above and we see the spotlight here. So it's coming from the left, upper left. And we see that it's catching the muscles here, shoulder here, part of this forearm. It's beautiful. It's beautifully done. Is it realistic? No, because if it's coming from this side, you probably wouldn't get such a harsh lighting here. But again, it's about creating drama with lighting and poses. So we have some highlights here in the leg from the light above, but you notice it's subdued. It's not as bright as this. If it was as bright as this, it'd just clash with this. This would not stand out as much if this leg was as bright as this shoulder. If you look at the stomach muscles here, that is a bounce light. A bounce light is like the bounces off the floor or another object that hits the body. And adding that bounce light, now he looks three-dimensional with a bounce light. He has lighting underneath and lighting in the top. And it makes him look solid, like he really exists in that world. But this character, but you notice his lighting on his body is very subdued compared to his lighting. Now, if the same light is hitting Conan, it should also be hitting him. But Frazetta says, no, I'm not going to use the same lighting on this guy. I'm going to give him a subdued lighting because I want him to stand out and her. Two are the main subject. But this guy's holding this beautiful dagger. And this dagger catches the attention, brings it down to him. And he has wonderful lighting in the face. Some beautiful lighting here and detail work in the face. You can see his expression, the wrinkles on his face, and on his eyebrows, his wrinkles there. Beautifully done. Even though there's a lot of detail, it works because it's not very bright. And with his clothing, we look at the highlights of the robe, and they're very subdued. Now, if Frazetta was to put the same type of lighting that Conan has on this clothing, it would be very distracting. We would have all these highlights here and the highlights on the top, and that would take away from this and Conan and probably the girl. Again, the lighting is not realistic, but we don't care about realism. We want to make it dramatic. We want to make it look cool. And he has this little goblet over here that's spilt. And it's beautiful how it just drips down into the stairs down here. And then he has the smoke going up this way. And this is beautiful lighting. I mean, it's not necessary. He didn't have to put that in there. But this adds to this. It adds to the drama. There's a fight. They're fighting. He knocks it over maybe with his foot. So there's a story there. Maybe she drank out of it. And she dropped it because her hand's right here. All this stuff going on here is so subdued, is muted for a reason, because this is the main subject right here, him and her. And he comes third. First, second, third. Or it could be first, second, third when you look at it. But all this information here supports this. It does not detract. It does not overwhelm the main characters. And that's what you should learn from Frazetta's artwork. Just look at it, learn from it, and you'll realize, okay, he did this for that reason, he did that for that reason, and it'll make you a better artist. So now I'm going to put some of that Frazetta type lighting on this old photocopy of a drawing that I made back in 2012. And this is perfect because it's mostly linear. So I want the the main focus to be on this character. And obviously, we're doing a character, so I want the head and maybe this arm, maybe part of this shoulder over here, and maybe a little bit of the chest. The lighting will be coming from above, because you have to sort of imagine this in your head as to how this would. With enough experience, you start realizing how the muscles catch light. So this is one of the muscles. This is the bone, and I would go ahead and just shadow this. Shoulder muscle here, this will all be in shadow. So we're starting to see a definite highlight lighting there. This area be highlighted. So I'm gonna just show that there's fur. Maybe you can see some highlight here on the walking stick. So I usually put a shape like this. I put a line to tell myself where I'm going to put the shadow. And I'm going to darken this here just so we can see the stick. Just because it's set in further back than the knee. Just to show depth, even though the whole thing's in shadow. And then even though it's in shadow, we can always put highlights, just muted highlights. I'll show you right here. I'll get my eraser, just put a little highlight here, one over here. One over here. And if you want to put some backlighting on the edge here, so what I'm going to do is just erase some of this. I'm going to get my H pencil and just darken this little edge. And darken this little edge here. And here we're going to create drama now. Dark shadows. I'm going to go back here and put a shadow on the brow. And fade down. Could be darken here where his hand is, to show there's the hand's casting a shadow there on the staff. I'm just going to darken this fur to just pop up the fur from the hand. Show a little depth there because this is lighter. And if you have a drawing and you want to practice, just make a linear drawing of a pose of a character without shadows and photocopy it. This is a photocopy. So photocopy your linear work and then practice your shadow work on that until you feel comfortable where you can actually just do it in the original drawing. And then the ground, and we gotta put this guy on the ground. This video helps you out with how to shade your characters and how to put interest in the places that you want to put interest, and the parts that you want them to be muted. Just do it like that. Okay? See you next time.